One of the confusing aspects of DaVinci Resolve, especially if you're new to the software and don't have someone to guide you, is that there are two versions, the paid version and the free version. In this release of Resolve 12, Blackmagic has renamed these two versions, making it a bit more obvious when you want to use the free versus the paid version. The free version of Resolve is now called, very simply, DaVinci Resolve. The paid version is named DaVinci Resolve Studio. In this movie, we're going to explore the differences between the free and studio versions to help you decide if you need to upgrade to DaVinci Resolve Studio. Because except for a few features found only on Studio, they are literally identical to each other. So, here's the deal. The first thing to know, the Studio version is physically a different download from the free version. They are two different pieces of software. How do you know if you're able to run Resolve Studio? Easy. You need this, a USB dongle. If you download Resolve Studio, you'll need this dongle inserted into your computer, and it needs to stay inserted the whole time DaVinci Resolve is running on your machine. Now, in this image, I'm showing you my original Mac version of the Resolve 8 dongle. If you have any Resolve dongle, including the one shown here, it runs both Resolve Studio Windows and Resolve Studio Mac. If you don't have this dongle, then you must download and use DaVinci Resolve. Resolve Studio can be bought from Blackmagic resellers. It also ships with Blackmagic's range of cinema cameras, but not the pocket camera. And you'll always find the most recent version of Resolve on Blackmagic's website. DaVinci Resolve can be freely downloaded, and it's always kept in version parity with the Studio version. So have no fear. If you're running the free version, Resolve Studio isn't leaving you behind. Which brings us to the question, what's the difference between Resolve and Resolve Studio? When it comes to features that are enabled for studio users and disabled for free users, the single most obvious standout? Noise reduction. Free users will find that this noise reduction panel, it's dimmed out and none of the controls are accessible. In the color tab, which we will cover in much more depth later on, this is one of only two panels that are inaccessible to free users. Otherwise, Resolve users have the same full access to the color grading tools as Resolve Studio users. What if you're a free user but need noise reduction? You'll either have to upgrade to the Studio version or you'll have to buy a third-party OpenFX noise reduction plugin. The second panel that free users can access, the Stereo 3D panel. Only Resolve Studio supports stereoscopic color correction. There are some other non-obvious restrictions in DaVinci Resolve that you won't notice until you need them. Resolve cannot render to any image size larger than ultra high definition. That means if you need to render to your client a true 4K image or larger, it's the Studio version for you, but Resolve can play back 4K or larger images. So if your footage was shot at 5K and you're rendering to 1080p, no problem. The free version DaVinci Resolve can do that just fine. The restriction is on rendering only. The free DaVinci Resolve is also restricted to a single graphics card for image processing. If you need to scale up for more real-time playback by adding additional graphics cards, that won't happen if you're running Resolve, the free version, unless you're running the new Mac Pro, which ships with 2 GPUs. Plus, it has a separate graphics chip for sending out your user interface. On that rig, the free version of Resolve can take advantage of both GPUs, but you must send out your user interface over the HDMI port. If you plug your UI to any other outputs, you won't get the full image processing that's offered on the new Mac Pros. Next, we get to post-production facility type features that are not available on DaVinci Resolve. First, real-time playout to tape decks, otherwise known in Resolve land as power mastering. Then there's support for the DaVinci Resolve control surface. This custom panel from Blackmagic, it costs the same as a luxury sedan, and it can only be run if you have a USB dongle. The good news? If you decide to buy one of these bad boys, the dongle is included. What else can you do on Resolve Studio? Share databases. If you're running multiple rooms of Resolve and you want them to access a central server so that any room can open any project at any time, then it's DaVinci Resolve Studio for you. And this restriction has implications for a few other features. DaVinci Resolve 11 introduced a brand new feature called the collaborative workflow. It allows multiple seats of Resolve Studio to open a shared project with everyone working on it simultaneously. This literally allows an editor to edit the timeline while an assistant loads and logs incoming footage, while the senior colorist is designing the look and her assistant is drawing custom shapes. All of them at the same time with the exact same project file open on each of their different workstations. So yes, this is a breakthrough workflow, but not only must you be working on Resolve Studio, every one of those seats in this workflow must also have a dongle. Along the same lines, remote grading, allowing me in Orlando to color grade a project while you're sitting in London. That's only available if you're running DaVinci Resolve Studio. I think it's pretty clear. Except for noise reduction, the features enabled in Studio tend to be those that only post-production studios would use. So, do you need the Studio version of DaVinci Resolve? If you need noise reduction and don't want to use a third-party plugin, yes, you'll need to upgrade. Do you need to render to 4K or larger frame sizes? Yes, that's a Studio-only feature. Do you need to run multiple seats of Resolve, all sharing the same database, such as in the new collaborative workflow? Yep, you'll have to upgrade. Do you need more real-time functionality by adding 2 or even more graphics cards? That's an upgrade. Finally, are you working on stereoscopic projects? Then the Studio version is what you'll need. If you answered yes to any of those questions I just asked, you'll need the Studio version of DaVinci Resolve. The only exception being noise reduction. If you use a third-party OpenFX plugin, you can still use the free version. And now that we know which version of DaVinci Resolve is appropriate for you, you're going to learn how to properly set up a DaVinci Resolve system in the next few movies. Remember, Resolve is a mature product. It's extremely powerful. It's used every day on Hollywood feature films. If you want to get the most out of it and have a good time using it, don't skip these movies on setting up Resolve properly. Don't be fooled into thinking that because Resolve is free, it can run on any computer.